Hi guys, so this is essentially part 2 in my things I love and things I hate about living in Poland. So in this video we are talking about the things I hate about living in Poland. So I'm going to talk about 8 things that I hate about living in Poland. So we're going to kick straight off so it's not too long of a video. The first thing I absolutely hate is probably the top of the list out of everything I hate. This is the most important one for me, and it's the bureaucracy. Oh my God, I cannot explain to you the level of bureaucracy there is here, the complicated nature of the bureaucracy, the fact that most things have to be done on actual paper rather than online, and just generally how complicated everything is here, because I'm used to a different level of getting things done. So for example, you know, when I got my loan for the land, it was a few clicks in an app, whereas if I wanted a loan here, I have to go into a bank branch, I have to provide tons of paperwork, and that's just one example. Another is, you know, when I did start my job, you know, when I started my job in England, I don't think I ever signed a piece of paper physically. Whereas when I started here, I kid you not, I got a stack this big and there were so many pages in there that I had to sign. Generally, things are a lot more difficult to sort out. A lot of times you have to go somewhere in person, you have to sort things on paper, you have to figure it out, and you know, things are just a lot less simple, and I hate it. And I sometimes feel like everything is complicated on purpose to try and sort of catch you out. And that brings me on to my second point, which is very close on the list, and that is taxes. And I don't just mean like the percentages and the levels of taxes. I mean the sheer complication of it, because, you know, I've become self-employed now, and I don't really know many people, if anyone, in England who, when they were self-employed, and I just mean like sole trader, self-employed, you do your self-assessment online versus, you know, I don't mean like limited company, because obviously that's different. But I'm sort of similar here. I'm self-employed. I don't have like a limited company or anything. I had to set up a company as a sole trader, but actually, you know, no one who, sorry, going back to what I meant, no one who's self-employed in England, or at least very few people, will pay for an accountant to do their self-assessment return, because it's so simple. Like, the whole system is so simple compared to what it is in Poland. And, you know, online, your self-assessment at HMRC, you go through, you answer questions, you enter amounts, and then boom, you get the amount that you need to pay. Whereas in Poland, everyone pays for an accountant. And if you watch my things I love, people don't like paying for things here. If they can do it themselves, they will. So the fact that pretty much everyone pays like 300-400 zloty per month for an accountant. Oh yeah, because you have to do monthly tax returns, not yearly, monthly. So they pay this like hundreds per month for someone to do their taxes, because it's so complicated. And I just wanted to find something out, and I tried Googling it in so many different ways, and I couldn't find the answer. And I feel like, again, this is just overcomplicated in order to make people pay for accountants, to make it more complex, to make you not be able to figure out, you know, the best way of doing things, perhaps. That's my sort of conspiracy theory mind, but it really stresses me out, you know. I'm an accountant and I like making sure things are done right, and the fact that I can't check myself whether my accountant is doing things right really stresses me out, because I want to make sure that I'm doing things in the best way possible. And yeah, I don't know, it blows my mind how complicated and bureaucratic the system is here. Okay, the next thing I want to mention is this old school mindset at work. So everyone I speak to says the same thing. So I know that it's not like just my own experience, but there is still very much, mostly with bosses, is what I mean, is this old mindset that working from home is bad. Your manager is like someone to be scared of, someone that controls you. And, you know, I hear all these stories from people and I'm absolutely petrified. And, you know, even like the experience of customer service here is very old school. It's not the customer is always right. It's not let's be friendly to people. It's very much like, why are you bothering me? And I hate it. The fact that so few people work from home and feel confident to speak up when they have stressful situations, I don't like that. And that also brings me on to the next thing, which is a lot of bullying at work that seems to be quite acceptable. So again, I hear a lot of stories from people who work. I talk to a lot of people, you know, I walk the dog, I have friends, family, colleagues, etc. And it's just insane. Like, I know that it's not like we've erased bullying and harassment in the UK, but it's just at a much higher level here. It generally feels like everything is like 15 years back, maybe. And I'm sure it's not the case everywhere, and not all bosses are the same, of course. That's not what I'm saying. There are obviously nice bosses and people who have more of a mindset that is in line with the current times. But unfortunately, still a lot of people in like leadership and power positions have that old school mindset. Okay, the next thing is jealousy. And this is something that I really struggle with here, because I am a person who really enjoys helping other people, motivating other people. It's part of why I started my channel. You know, I talk to people and I say, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? You know, I achieved this and this and this. If I did it, you can do it, you know? I feel like, again, generalization here because not everyone is the same. But I've spoken to quite a few people and they have agreed with me, especially those who have come from England. People here they don't have this mentality of, oh, let's be happy for someone. Let's use that to motivate myself. You know, I like this person. Let's be happy that they've achieved this and that and all of this. No, there's a lot of jealousy. And like I said, I struggle with it because I'm so used to being very open and very much like, oh yeah, I did this, and you know, why don't you think about doing this? And there's just this mindset of, rather than doing something to help myself, I'm just going to be jealous of other people. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a bit of a hard phenomenon to explain, but like I said, it's not just me that feels this, it's a lot of people. And I don't know what fuels it, to be honest. I don't know what causes it, but I do feel like, for example, a lot of people are jealous that I have my house without a mortgage and all of this stuff. And even one of my neighbors once said to me, like, you know, you shouldn't tell people that you have this house without a mortgage. I'm like, why? Like, it's not a secret, and I can help them, you know, with their finances if they want me to. Oh, I don't know. I really struggle with it. I'm more of the person of like, wow, that's amazing. Well done. Cool. How can I achieve something like that? But yeah, not the case here. Okay, next thing is the public healthcare here is really not very fit for purpose, in my opinion. I wasn't a massive fan of the NHS, I'm not going to lie, but having come here, I think it's a lot better than it is here, because waiting lists are absolutely insane. Like, there are certain things where it's like a 2-year wait for, and I'm like, how is that even possible? And you know, I mentioned private healthcare back in my Things I Love video, but I still think that public healthcare should be better accessible for those who need it. And I think when it comes to, you know, seeing a GP or getting blood tests or whatever, I think it's fine. But when it comes to getting referrals to do anything, most people I know will get the referral from their GP and then go privately because the wait list is so long. I do think part of it comes from the fact that there is a lot of a mindset here of like over-medicating, if you will. So when you listen to adverts, for example, on TV or on the radio, most of them are like pharmaceutical adverts, which is insane. But you know, not everyone can afford to go privately. So that's one thing that I hate about living here. Number 7 is the winter air quality. Now, this is something that I think I've mentioned in the past in some videos, but you know, one of the things that I hated about living in London was the polluted air. the air quality was terrible in London, even though you couldn't really tell, but obviously you had all the studies that showed, I think I read something just before I moved here, that was like living in London is like smoking 10 packs of cigarettes a day or something crazy like that. Don't quote me, but it was insane. So obviously I thought, I'm living in the countryside in Poland, the air quality will be awesome, but it's really not. In the winter, pretty much the whole of Poland becomes just awful air quality. The reason is that a lot of people still heat their homes by burning coal, which is not even that bad compared to the fact that a lot of people, despite the fact it's illegal, a lot of people still heat their homes by burning rubbish. Plastics, all of that, they do, especially in the countryside. So, when I walk my dog at night, or even in the evening in the winter, I feel like I can't breathe because I'm breathing in all of these smoke, all the smoke that I know isn't just from people burning wood. I know that it's coming from coal, that it's coming from plastics. One of my neighbors once basically messaged me saying, can I borrow a laptop charger because when I was burning cables, I accidentally burnt mine. And I was like, how are you even admitting this to me? So yeah, it just baffles me that people don't care. And finally, the last thing that I really hate is that there are still too many people, and it is getting better, but there are still too many people really stuck in the past when it comes to attitudes towards animal welfare. And I don't just mean livestock. Obviously, I don't eat meat. I have a different mentality when it comes to all animals. I'm talking about pets. There are still so many people who are just like, I was just a dog, or so many people that are cruel, animal cruelty, people who chain up their dogs, keep them locked up. It's just horrible, basically. And the laws in Poland still haven't changed enough to stop it from happening. So, for example, it's not illegal to keep your dog chained up on a chain. That's crazy to me. The chain has to be 3 meters or more, but it can be chained up. And I'm like, what kind of life is that for the dog? So yes, okay, I've been talking for 15 minutes. Hopefully I can edit this down. But yes, hopefully you've enjoyed that. Let me know what you think of these things. Would you be able to cope with them? How would you feel? As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.